I live in an apartment complex that has a bunch of little kids. During the original lockdowns, I would go outside to walk around and get out. And one day, one of the kids launched a soccer ball my direction. And without thinking, I headed the ball back to them. And they said something like, "Whoa, do it again, do it again." And I was hesitant at first because I'm bald 31-year-old with a large beard playing with a bunch of little kids. I told them I'm not sure if your parents would want you playing with a stranger, but you guys have fun. I didn't realize their mom was sitting inside with the window open watching them. And I hear her yell, "Please kick the ball around with them if you want to. I know you live across the hall, I see you all the time." I proceeded to play soccer with them for about 2 hours and had a blast. Now, every Friday, without fail, a group of kids knock on my door at 6 p.m. because they know I'm off work and want me to play some kind of game with them. We played freeze tag last Friday, it was dope. I cheated and climbed a tree so they couldn't get me. Makes me feel like a kid again, and it truly is a highlight to my week. The mom also brings me fresh homemade tamales at least every 2 weeks and refuses to let me pay for them. My wife of 33 years was diagnosed with leukemia. She wanted to use the time she had left to create memories, which she did. She gave the grandkids the time of their lives. The last time we went out when she was well was when we took the motorbike for a ride to the nearby coast. We had stopped to buy fish and chips and went onto the cliff tops. Sitting in the tall native grass looking out to sea, we suddenly saw a pod of orcas swimming up the coast close to the shore. This isn't unusual, as it is their route from Antarctica north, but there was more than one pod. There would have been close to 50 or 60 whales spread out over 4 or 5 miles. It was an awesome sight. On the way home, on a longish straight, I opened the bike up and rode quite quickly. As I slowed for a corner, I expected the usual jab in the ribs for speeding. I called out an apology, and she replied, "I've got cancer, Dave. Fucking thrill me." Permission granted, I gave her the ride of a lifetime. She died shortly after that. But what a great memory. Still brings tears to my eyes thinking about this simple act of kindness. I've never really used my Facebook account for a few different reasons. But a couple of years ago, a guy with the same first and last name as myself contacted me through Facebook Messenger. He lived several hundred miles away from me in a different state. He told me that my grandmother, who has dementia, had recently made a Facebook account and had mistaken added him thinking he was me. She was upset because I had moved so far away without telling her. After failed attempts of explaining to her that she had messaged the wrong guy, he realized that she might have Alzheimer's. Instead of just ignoring her and forgetting about the confusion, he took the time to find me, her actual grandson, and let me know what was going on. He told her that he would be moving back soon and not to worry. But even more unbelievable is that that guy was kind enough to not ignore some random elderly woman and be brokenhearted. At my last job, there was another kid who loved Hamilton as much as me. I had control of the speakers one day. We worked in a kitchen, so as long as we kept the volume reasonable, we could play what we wanted. And I heard her desperately trying to keep calm and handle all her different tasks. She was muttering something about, "It's such a bad day, but it'll be over soon," or something along those lines, less than halfway through her shift. So as soon as she left the kitchen to take out the garbage, I ran to my phone and switched from my normal playlist to Hamilton. I don't know if she ever realized that what I'd done was intentional, but she did always talk about any time she hears Hamilton, it's a good day. The rest of her day seemed to go better, but she ended up leaving that job pretty soon after, and I left a few weeks after that too. Tori, if you see this, I hope you're doing better, kid. I hope you found a job that treats you the way you deserve to be treated for how hard you work. I'd been saving a $100 bill in my wallet for months on end, waiting to use it. Every time I went to spend it, my gut said no. Every time I went to give it to a random panhandler, my gut said no. A few weeks ago, I saw a woman with her child on the side of the road asking for money for diapers. She didn't have any of the hallmarks of a long-term homeless person or of a junkie, just looked like a desperate mother in need. As I passed her, my gut just said, "It's time." So I stopped and gave her the 100. The look on her face when she realized the single bill I was giving her was $100 was priceless, and I'll never forget it. Best $100 I've ever spent. Only person I told was my GF, because she asked me why I always carry a $100 bill on me that I never spend. So I told her when I finally let it go. Normally, I wouldn't go bragging about it, but hey, if we're asking about wholesome secrets, I suppose this is an appropriate place to tell the story. When I was growing up, my parents were quite poor. They kept a small stash of cash in a particular spot for emergencies. My grandfather used to come over while they were at work and sneak money into it. He would also bring a case of Coke and Pepsi and leave it on the counter quite openly. In case any of the neighbors mentioned seeing his car in our driveway, he would say, "Oh, I was just dropping off a case of soda as a treat." I caught him doing it one day when I was homesick. Fast forward 25 years. My grandfather's been dead for a long time, but my parents are still rather poor, while I married into money. Every time they're working late, they ask if I can go over to let their dog out. While I'm there, with no witnesses, I carry on Grandpa's tradition. I think my dad might have caught on, but my mom still has no idea.